Chapter 18. Dr. Young sat down with the executives at their monthly meeting to discuss the recent outbreak, check-ins and check-outs for the patients. One corporate started in as Dr. Young and Dr. Huffman settled in their chairs. "All right, men, we'll make this quick. We have a flight to catch in about an hour or so let's jump right in here. First of all, congratulations on having 3 patients check out completely cured. Bravo on that one, boys. That's just the flow we'd like to see here at Vista Mental Institution. They come in, we get them out. Cured, of course." A chuckling laughter from the other board members momentarily filled the room and quickly segued into Dr. Young's reply.
"Well, to tell you the truth, guys, it wasn't exactly the meds or the doctors who cured these patients. It was actually another patient."
Dr. Young threw William Iris's portfolio on the table. One of the board members picked it up, glanced through it and passed it on. The 2 corporates whispered to one another. "The catatonics case. If this turns out, I'm notifying our friends in the service immediately. They may find this handy." The other gave a quick nod of approval with the corners of his mouth dropped in agreement. In the meantime, Dr. Young went on.
"You remember John, right?"
The executive replied, "Of course. Patient number 111 last year, right? Turned out catatonic. Suffered from paranoia and schizophrenia. Horrible situation." Dr. Young replied after a slight show of irritation at the odd order of side effects.
"Exactly. Well, coincidentally, William is in the same room this year as John once was. But they share more in common than that."
The executive cut in. "Now wait, Charles. Let's not get into this one again. The board went easy on you the first time you ignored protocol and failed to medicate John properly. Even after he agreed to heed your note of his potent intuition." Dr. Young cut in as well.
"This one has been medicated. Heavily, I might add. The medication, though, has had no effect on patient 1011, whatsoever. Even after the first 2 or 3 weeks."
The executive flipped through to see William's testing content. The page read positive for a good amount of the very medication he was just about to tell Dr. Young to put him on. Dr. Young could tell by the look on the executive's face and said to him,
"I know, amazing, right? 30 milligrams 3 times a day."
The executive shot out, gasping for an explanation. "And the result?" Dr. Young shot right back productively.
"Dry mouth, and that's all. He says he dreams like crazy, guys. Look, this kid's in his early 20s, no history of violence, light depression, aside from the trauma and death of his loved ones. He suffers from nothing but the everyday bullshit that you and all of us go through. He didn't even have these symptoms before he admitted himself. All I'm asking is for a simple EEG test with John."
One of the executives shot out.
"Why the EEG?"
Dr. Young replied,
"Because the electroencephalogram will give us readings on the patient's subconscious interaction with each other while under heavy sedation. Well before John went catatonic, I intended to put him and any other willing patient out and test if John's subconscious could indeed interact with the other patients. But it never happened. It was shut down."
The men shifted to reply, but Dr. Young said with wisdom,
"Before you defend that decision, know that I understand the intent of shutting the test down. It's well behind us now. We need to think about helping William. I want to do it right this time, men. I'm looking at this as a very rare second chance. If what John and his men in the military once told us is true, then we would most definitely see movement for both patients simultaneously. And who knows, William could bring John back. This may answer our questions about the outbreak as well, gentlemen. I have reason to believe that the cause of this virus being untraceable is because it's not a virus at all. It's simply our own thoughts manifesting into physical form."
William lay back in his bed and talked in his head before he went to sleep. This is getting weird. I can almost feel a growing sensation inside of me breaking. Almost like a new emotion, but much stronger physically. I want to break it almost, but at the same time I'm afraid of it. Logan, Dreamers, Choosers, Allie, Stephen, David, the outbreaks and rioting, the overcast. It's like it's all connected. None of it really makes any sense at the same time. Do I just want to feel special? Going off on another daydream? Wishing for more? No, that can't be it. I don't feel like that anymore. Being here at Vista and talking to Dr. Young helped me with the fact that I was simply bored with life before the wedding. I miss my family. I need to accept my losses and really live again, but I feel so hollow about that day. Just when I get to the point, though, I can't help but feel that dark overcast coming in. Ironic choice of words. William turned out the lights and went to bed. The blackness dissipated as William's eyes adjusted to the dark. Quickly, the room lost its organic motion when it became a fixed vision, and William found himself in a dream. Stale, white hospital light burst through the seams from William opening his eyes to the infancy of his dream. William lifted his groggy head and wondered, okay, whose head am I in now? He didn't yet realize that it was indeed his own. He saw all too familiar faces to be in someone else's mind. William noticed pretty much his whole family and ones he loved to be with, including sweet Sarah, who smiled at him and didn't say a word. His vision panned from left to right at what seemed to be way more people than the size of the room seemed to fit. He was in his hospital room from the night of the wedding. A very familiar face appeared through the crowd with an unmistakable scar. William quickly wondered if he was dying, and why all the people he knew were in the room looking at him in such an empty way. He quickly asked Logan, "Logan? What's going on?" Logan lifted his right palm above William's forehead. Logan's hand descended to find William's forehead while saying,
William, you're not done yet.
The word "done" was immediately followed with a chilling pain in the center of the head. Everybody in the room seemed to blur out as the world went dark. William saw what he took to be time, a view of speeding through cities, mountains, deserts, and oceans. The sky flickered in different fractions, like a million shattered televisions changing different channels simultaneously. With storms, stars, sunrises, and sunsets until the speeding world came to a halt. William found himself at another deceased family member's grave. He saw it from an outer-body image, a crowd of people dressed in black. William gazed through the crowd until he noticed one familiar little boy at about the age of 10 walking in line next to his mother as they both approached the closed, sleek black casket and dropped 2 red roses down the closed casket 6 feet deep into the earth. Then William wanted to cry as he remembered once more that loved ones would continue to fall around him until his world went dark as well as theirs. Instead of tears, William felt pain in his eyes. It felt as if sand were working its way through his tear ducts. William rubbed his eyes from the sharp pain and turned to his left where Logan stood once more, raised his hand. And again William left this scene with the words,
You're not done yet.
Time shifted again through the deserts and mountains until it halted at a memory that was all too familiar to William. William saw himself at the wedding. The sandy pain came once again, but this time tingled in the back of his neck. It sounded and felt similar to someone scratching their nail at the bottom of a swimming pool wall underneath the water. Suddenly, in thought, William made a connection to the Overcast and the wedding. Why would they attack and kill them and not him? William turned to find Logan, saying once again,
William, you're not done yet.
William felt the steady rush of energy as he traveled memory after memory of anything that had taught William something significant. William then arrived at a house where a familiar little girl played with her mum in the sprinklers. Logan caught William's attention by saying,
You helped this little girl. Far after her damage was done, you rid her of her scars and reminded her of what kinds of good she knew on Earth. Her name is Allie. She's better now, free, but still, you're not done yet.
William appeared in an unknown neighborhood where he stood in front of a house window. He peered through the window to find Stephen, happily eating dinner with a lady who William assumed was his Aunt Carmen. It also looked like he had cousins and an uncle to bond with as well.
He is away from that which would ultimately have caused his demise. A life in the dark. Still, billions upon billions would suffer from the same, if not worse, in their lifetime. Someone always will have it worse, William. Worse than the worst. Ages of pain and battle. Ages of peace. Are you to fight them all? The Overcast?
This made William feel hopeless once more. But he remembered what he'd learned from being in VMI. He remembered that life isn't about all of this. It's about living your own. He saw what David's mind did to the Overcast without David even realizing it. William somewhat didn't feel obligated to help every last person, then thought, what if I could though? No. What if I could help 10? Shit, even 1. But the Overcast, I couldn't fathom how long that fight would be. This time, Logan said,
Would it break you to fight this? Do we even stand a chance?
Logan grabbed William's arm, and in an instant played out every single torturous moment that humanity could put them into. It seemed like an eon of hell. William's heart nearly exploded as ages of horror flashed by in his mind. When this came to an end, the last thing he remembered were visions of a tranquil city, small towns, families, leaders shaking hands in peace. William saw that the world now, although still brutal, was a lot more peaceful. Even in our time of war, it seemed more peaceful, worth fighting for. Logan's voice came into focus while William and him now stood on a hill and gazed at the distant city of New York. William noticed dark clouds forming over this panned-out view. He knew these weren't clouds of a dark force, but instead the product of his calm and readiness. William smiled as he took that comforting smell of the rain as it hits the ground while Logan told him,
An enemy grows, William. It grows in this world and threatens humans' free will, as well as any other creature that crawls this earth. You are still young, though. Young in the mind.
William then asked, How do you show me all of this? How are you taking my mind place to place through time? Where do all these places come from? Logan answered,
This.
Logan once again grabbed William's arm and brought them both to a final destination before William would wake. Time blurred for William and came into focus. He now stood on a long road lined with old houses on both sides. The road seemed to go on for miles upon miles. As William looked all the way down the road, the world around him caught his attention. The horizon started in a burnt dark purple that faded into black. William saw clouds moving as if they were in fast forward. Half of a planet that looked about the size of a baseball floated slowly across the skyline. The other half was shattered and the particles flowed along a chaotic orbit with half that was still intact. William heard faint voices, whispering, and ambient sounds that he had never experienced before. William couldn't feel a breeze or temperature for that matter. It felt to William like his body was his shell. William then noticed Logan was still standing next to him. Logan finished what he had started to say before they came here.
This place, William, is a product of creation, a product of free will, a place where God itself has no control, for it is where it and any other belief was formed as well. It's where the boogeyman is, where dreams are made, visions, a calamity of what your modern science would call the subconscious. Every subconsciousness that would ever exist has built some part of the world in which you stand as we speak. I remember being in here and hearing a voice that once asked, "Why do butterflies die?" That voice was yours, William, and I'm here to tell you, this is indeed what you will know as the place where butterflies never die.
Turned behind him and saw the most amazing, enormous world he had ever seen. Ghosts seemed to pass through houses. Normal people stood on the streets. Trees morphed through seasons in an instant. William felt like he was in some twisted painting, made by either a madman or a genius. William turned back to where he was facing before, but the road wasn't there. He stood in a field of black irises, with single white stripes slashing through the middle of each petal. He walked through the field of irises with both hands out behind him. This world gave him the wonder he once had as a small child, for he knew nothing about this new world. It was all new, and the rules were all so different. As his hand gently ran over each iris flower, he noticed that the flowers that he touched fluttered to motion. And what once was a flower in front of him turned to the very same butterfly he saw at Vista. William smiled, and this moment of creativity was broken as Logan called William's name.
William.
William turned and ended up back on the road that he was standing on in the first place. He realized how quickly you could get lost forever in a place like this. Logan finished by saying,
"It's time for you to go back now. Before you go, remember this place."
Logan pointed down the road to a decrepit old house that had all of the windows and doors boarded up.
I am stuck in my own mind, William, from what we who have the understanding refer to as shrouding. Shrouding is when the overcast corners what the laymen view as the human soul into one single dark corner of the mind. The overcast are sneaky little bastards. They start the shrouding by slowly leaking into your head, masked as common judgmental doubt. Then, before you know it, you're surrounded by the overcasts in the one place they have left for you to go in your own mind. The one place where they purposefully leave no doubt, and then your own pride consumes you, causing you to forget all of the life that was once around you. It is then, when you have been shrouded by the overcast, the only way out is from the help of another who holds the understanding, such as yourself, William. The understanding is that which is opposite from the overcast. This is why you like it when it's cold, William. You are attracted to it in order to be hidden from the overcast, just as they are attracted to warmth, making it hard for them to find you. You bring the cold weather. It's balance, William. Balance.
Logan then pointed back to the house. The house had an eerie feeling as William stared at it. He noticed a small beam of what seemed to be sunlight peeking out from the roof into the dark sky. When William looked up, he saw the overcast swarming around the light, but wouldn't go near it. At first, William was startled and readied his fist, but then realized that they didn't notice him. They were more occupied with the house. Logan finished as William turned back.
You're not done yet.